I was trying to get him to come on because we're going to talk about him. I have his, so we're starting, but before we start, I have his permission to talk about a few things because we're talking about what makes someone a hypochondriac.
Yeah.
And he actually is like that. He says
he's not.
He said he is. He definitely is.
He told me right before we came down, I'm not like that. And you just laughed and we came downstairs.
And I almost choked on my water on Saturday because I told him I'm reading up on this, ChatGPT and Google and all that fun stuff. It shows in here where we got some of our information from. And it was characteristics of hypochondria.
Yeah.
And so we'll talk about that. But I get down to number 5 and it says constant checking. Repeatedly checking their body for lumps, sores, or other potential signs of illness. And I started laughing, which is not, I promise I wasn't being mean because this is a true thing.
But you were just like, this is
you. And he was like staring at me. I'm like, and I read it out loud and he just started laughing. He's like, wow, I think I have it.
Yeah.
Like that's for real because you're worried about everything that's happening. So it actually was more formally called someone with illness anxiety disorder.
I feel like since COVID, we all have a little bit of
100%,
that, right?
Which is why I wanted to talk about it. So
like,
although we will have a little fun with some of the things that my husband does because he's just a great.
I just can't not laugh though.
Yeah, he allows us to do this.
Yeah,
it's a person that has excessive preoccupation of worry about having a serious illness.
Yeah.
This fear often persists despite medical reassurance and a lack of evidence to support their concerns.
Yeah.
I have a friend, or an acquaintance now, was a friend. She doctor hops.
Oh.
Because she doesn't like what the first doctor tells her because she knows her body.
Right.
And no, it's not this, it's not this, it's not this. Well, take blood test again. And she's just
going to the
hopping.
next one. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you are someone that
Which
does
is
that,
so scary though, right? Like I totally understand it because I've seen so many horror stories.
Absolutely.
Of people being dismissed by their doctor, like, oh no, you're just overweight or it's all in your head or whatever.
Right.
And then they're like, no, I had a 14-pound tumor in my ovary.
Right.
You know? Like,
right. Exactly.
It's like, what?
So not trying to dismiss it.
Not,
right.
You know,
not trying to dismiss it, but truly talking about the illness anxiety disorder is some, she was. There's nothing wrong with her.
Right.
After many, many years of doctor hopping, there truly is nothing wrong with her. She goes to therapy now, and she is really one of the healthiest people that I know. So, but she did suffer from it. It's funny because Steve, it's not funny, but Steve is extremely healthy.
Yeah.
Even though there was, what do you call it? In his family, they had diabetes and heart, and he has nothing.
Yeah.
He is very healthy. He takes care of himself. He works out, and he just, he's fine.
Yeah.
He went and got blood work done last month by his doctor, and he kept saying, I can't believe my blood sugar is not high. I can't believe my blood pressure is that good. I said, what are you focusing on here? Like, you are mad that you're healthy. And we kind of started laughing about it. I can't believe I'm all in the green.
Yeah.
Why can't you believe that?
Yeah, you take care of yourself.
You take care of yourself.
But it's those little
you
snacky
feel good.
snacks
Well,
at night.
besides that,
he just has little raccoon
we
routine.
can all lose 5 pounds. You know how that goes. Yeah, he is. He is our little raccoon at night. He has to go look in the garbage can to see what he ate. And I am terrible.
It's the tiny bowls.
Genetics is what the word I was thinking of.
Yeah.
We just got off of Clopin, so I'm trying to get myself into the anxiety. But his genetics of his family is diabetes.
Right.
Brain, heart, all that stuff.
Well, I feel like diabetes is not genetic unless you have type 1.
Right, unless you have type 1.
Type 2, which you're most likely going to find out early age that you're type 1.
Correct.
Right? You're going to find out between like 2 years old and 10 years old that you're type 1.
Right.
Type 2 is all how you treat your own body.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And there are ways to prevent it and to stop it.
Yes.
And to
reverse it.
And reverse it. Thank you.
Yeah.
My brain is not working today. See, this is what I get for talking about him.
And then I think about cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Is cancer genetic? I don't think cancer is genetic.
Really?
I think it's also all in how you treat your body.
Mm.
You know, and I don't know because like my husband's family has colon cancer history. So they all get lots of colonoscopies.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, knock on wood, nobody has had it since mom and dad. But there has been other cancer. Prostate cancer, breast cancer, this and that. So I don't know. Is it genetic?
I have a friend 4 generations of breast cancer.
Yeah.
So I feel like that it is in your genetics. So I guess it all depends on the situation.
I don't know.
As with
so
anything,
weird.
right? You go to one story,
weird.
you have one story, you have this story, and everyone's going to be different.
Yeah.
So because we're all unique. So,
yeah.
So characteristics
Yeah.
of hypochondria or illness anxiety disorder. I'm just going to call it IAD. How about that? All right. Excessive health anxiety. The individual is intensely focused on their health and constantly fears that normal bodily sensations or minor symptoms are signs of a serious illness.
Yeah.
For example, they get a headache, it's a brain tumor. They start Googling, right? Misinterpretation of symptoms. Here, it says it right here. A headache might be assumed to be a brain tumor, or a slight cough might be feared of lung cancer, pneumonia, something worse.
So what do you call the opposite of somebody who has that? Because that's what I am. I'm the opposite of, what is it? IAD?
I think it's you don't care.
I'm like, what? I've had a headache for 3 days. I'm sure it's fine. I'm probably just going to get my period or something.
I'm just going to go through this drive-thru and get an iced coffee. That'll fix my headache.
That'll fix it. Yeah. More caffeine.
Yeah. And here, just like my friend / acquaintance, frequent medical visits.
Yeah.
They may frequently visit doctors, insist on tests, or seek second opinions, 3rd, 4th, 5th for my friend, even after being told that they are healthy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like if I had something and the 4th doctor didn't find anything, then maybe I start rethinking, like, all right, maybe.
But if you have this illness, you may not. You just haven't found the right doctor.
It's almost like OCD with your health.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
You have to check and recheck. You have to check and recheck.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or how about this? Just the opposite, the avoidance of doctors.
Yeah.
In contrast, some avoid medical professionals out of fear of having their worst health fears confirmed.
That's probably what I have. Yeah.
You just don't want to hear it.
I just don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what you do to your body.
Right.
You don't need to hear it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I have.
Yeah, I have some friends like that.
Yeah.
They know.
I hate doctors.
Yeah.
You know what? And I think I'm going to blame my grandma for that one. She's like, because every time I go to the doctor, they find something wrong.
Right. So why go? Unless you absolutely have to.
I'm fine. And I was like, oh, really? How was that kidney stone last year?
I haven't had one, but I heard that they're terrible.
Awful.
Oh, you know what's going to happen now tomorrow is my back's going to hurt. I'm like, this is it. This is it. Because we talked about it.
You're fine.
I feel like, though, because of my medical background, that I'm a little bit like this.
Yeah.
Something immediately starts happening. I'm just like, oh, here we go. Here we go. I better go see the doctor.
But I feel like every time you did go to the doctor,
there was a reason. That's true. That's true.
And like they were like, oh, yep, this is messed up. Yep, let's take care of it. Let's get it fixed. We're taking it out. We're burning it up. We're doing this.
Very true. And then, like we mentioned, constant checking.
Yeah.
If you're constantly checking for, Steve has a mole on his collarbone.
Oh, boy.
And he brings it up every year. And he's had it since he was, 2.5.
Oh, my gosh.
Is it getting darker? I said, no. And it's funny because in Christmas Vacation, when the parents come and she's pointing, he goes, well, it's getting redder. Because she's like, did you see my mole? Did you see my mole right here? What do you think? Do you think it's cancer? And he's like, well, it's getting red or it's infected or something, whatever she says. That's what it reminds me of. It's the same thing that he's had forever since I've known him and then some. And he always brings it up. And the doctor goes, it's fine.
He's like, we have it in your chart.
We
have the dimensions.
20 years. We have the dimensions. Has it changed?
We took a picture.
No, it hasn't changed, but look at how dark it is.
Yeah,
you're
it's
half
a mole.
Italian, man. Your skin's darker.
It's tan.
Yeah, it's tan. It's dark.
It's June. It's tan. It's going to be darker.
Yep. And he mentions the same stuff over and over again. Oh, gosh. Seeking reassurance, constantly asking friends, family. Geez, that sounds like me the past 3 years. Medical professionals for reassurance about their health.
Yeah.
So maybe nothing's wrong. So reassure me. Or maybe you go to the doctor and say, I'm feeling fine. I just want to make sure. Like maybe they don't have their 1 year, their annual checkup. Maybe it's once a month.
Oh.
Right? I see. I couldn't do it.
How do you even get into the doctor that often?
Well, now you can't.
4-month
so this was
waiting list.
pre-2020. But yeah, they have a very long, like my thyroid, my endocrinologist, it's 6-7 months to get in.
That's wild.
So everyone always asks me, who do you see? And I say, listen, go to the emergency room first and then go see her if you're not feeling good. Because you're going to have to wait 6, 7, 8 months to see her because she has limited hours. And for me, she can get me in because I've been with her for so long.
Yeah.
I seem to be able to get in like within 4 weeks.
Yeah. But still 4 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I never have an emergency anymore. Yeah. But they write back right away.
Yeah.
You know, if you go on the portal, if you're a patient, they make it pretty easy now.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely, if you want to see a specialist, make sure it's, you know, you got some time. Obsessive research.
Yeah.
Spending a lot of time researching symptoms and possible conditions online, which is actually called hypochondria.
Ooh.
Hypochondria.
That's a new one.
With a C. Yeah.
Huh.
Causes. So some of this is developed for several reasons. And my poor husband, he falls under this. We talked about it over the weekend. Past illnesses.
Yeah.
Seeing someone with their past illnesses. A personal history of severe illness, which I would absolutely understand. Or seeing a loved one suffer.
Yeah. I was just going to say, like, I wonder how many people got very sick as a child and, you know, maybe had kind of, you know, an obsessive mom, like, don't get sick, you know. Remember that one time you were 5 and you were so sick and we thought you were going to die, and then now that's just in your head. If you get sick, you're going to die, you know.
Yep.
I can't imagine living with that all the time. My mom, no.
That's why you don't go to the doctor then. That's how you grew up.
Yeah, we did not go to the doctor. I think my sister, I was pretty healthy growing up. My sister had a lot of ear, nose, throat. She probably should have gotten. She still
does.
She does.
She usually, sometimes she sounds very congested. Yeah.
And I always say at that time, it was very popular to get your tonsils out. Like everybody was getting their tonsils out. And I feel like right when my sister was getting sick, they had like stopped doing that because they realized they were unnecessarily doing it. Maybe it wasn't supposed to happen to everybody.
Yeah.
And so it's like she suffered because of that trend or that fad. And I remember one time she was so sick and her ear ruptured by the time she finally went to the doctor.
Gosh.
And she was probably a teenager by then. So that was pretty bad. Yeah.
So I was very sick.
Yeah.
But I was very fortunate. My mom was a nurse.
Yeah.
So I could just go to her and she would say, maybe it's, you know, you either go take a nap and some Tylenol or we better go to the office.
Yeah.
Because she worked for a doctor, which was excellent. I had him for years and years and years.
Yeah.
But she was also very tough.
Yes.
Because one of the holidays with my cute white leather patent shoes and my white tights, I fell in the church parking lot and busted my knee open, and she let it bleed during church and then took me to go get stitches.
Right.
So it's like
nurses are like, you're not dying.
Yeah, but do we really need to go? But if it had to do with, like, both me and my brother, the older brother had mono, she was right on there. You know, she made sure that we were good during that and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So, but when it came to like injuries, she was like, is it really broken? Do you need 5 stitches? Yeah. So
you're fine. Cry it out. Rub some dirt on it.
Another cause would be personality traits, individuals prone to anxiety. So of course we worry, right?
Yeah.
Or perfectionism. Maybe more susceptible to this.
See, that's like I said, it's like OCD.
Yeah.
It's like medical OCD.
You want to have this perfect body and this perfect health. And, you know, sometimes I feel like maybe that could be me because I don't eat meat.
Yeah.
Right? And maybe I kind of leave myself more susceptible to think that something's wrong if I don't feel good. Like, oh, what did I eat yesterday? When it's nothing. It's nothing. Maybe I have like just a smidgen of it.
You know, but then I think like like you eat well, but you also eat sugar, right?
That's true. That's true.
And I know every time if I like binge on a, get coffee and a donut, and it's like, why does my stomach hurt?
Right.
It's like,
where I know.
Well, duh.
Can we talk about
had
the
no fiber or protein
sugar
today.
cookie Christmas tree
Oh
that we
my
had
God,
from
that was so good.
Stan's? I have diabetes until 2030 because of that.
It was so good.
But and you know what's crazy? So we worked together.
Yeah.
Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago already.
Was it really?
No,
it was last week. No, it
And
was 2 weeks
we work
ago, I
at
think.
places that
Anyways.
have stands.
Yes.
And we saw this cute Christmas tree. And I thought,
Yeah.
amazing, sugar cookie Christmas tree.
Yeah.
So she puts it in 2 separate bags. We get into the car. And you're going one way, I'm going another way. And so
Yes.
I'm listening to something, or I think I was on a call. And I go, okay, this seems very sugary. I'm just going to have the top of the tree. Then I start sitting in traffic. And what do? You don't even realize you're eating the whole thing.
Yes.
It had to have been 2,000 calories.
Oh, easy. Yeah.
And I did the same thing. I'm sitting there and I'm like, God, why is my sugar dropping? Why does my stomach hurt? Because, at first your sugar goes really high. And then for someone like me, it just tanks
Yeah.
and goes into the basement. And I'm just like, I really feel bad. So by the time I got home, I'm like,
You're
oh.
like, I should probably have some M&Ms.
Exactly. I need to raise my sugar. Oh, I ate a candy cane that was in my car. Terrible.
It is.
But that was really good.
It was
Stan's
so
is
good.
delish.
It was so good.
Would you compare it to like crumble cookies or crumble? No, crumble they have more. They're even
They're
more.
cookies. Like that was a donut.
Okay, yeah, but it
You
had
know
like
what
a
I
kind of
mean?
a harder edge, right?
It was,
Or
yeah.
outside?
I feel like it was almost like a croissant donut, right? Like it was kind
Oh.
of layery. I don't know.
Oh, see, I ate it so fast I didn't even look at it. And I pulled the trying to get sprinkles not in the car, Terrible.
I'm just like pulling it out of the bag and eating it.
Oh,
in the
that's
bag.
good. That's
Yeah.
a good idea.
But yeah, it had a very hard frosting on it.
It did.
You know.
like cookie but donut.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't know. It was weird.
If you don't
but
have to worry about your sugar, check out Stan's. If you do,
Yeah.
share it with a friend.
There you go. Only eat half.
Childhood experiences would be another cause. Overly health-focused parenting
Yeah.
or trauma.
Yeah. I think about all the kids born during the pandemic who were just doused in hand sanitizer the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, I think about the kid, they didn't have, what is a normal experience
Right,
growing
right.
up? There is no such
Right.
thing. But they didn't even get to go to stores, go to school, play on playgrounds. I don't even know. I don't even know where those kids are going to be in 20 years.
I remember working at the place that we met, and a dad was with his daughter, and he said, this is the first time that she's been out of the house in 6 months.
Oh my God.
And we're trying to figure out how to do the mask thing because she was crying. She hated it. She didn't want to be
Yeah.
out. And you could just tell she was looking around.
Yeah.
Just what's going to happen. And,
Yeah.
she held the hand sanitizer and, oh, that was terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I just,
I go 6 months.
we're talking about this now. I'm thinking 10 years from now, we'll visit this episode again and be like,
yep.
look at these kids.
Yep. Yeah.
Look at these kids.
Something changed
But
there.
what are you supposed to do as a parent?
No, I know.
You know what I mean?
You want to protect.
Yeah.
None of us knew what was going on.
Right.
But
It's
trauma.
so wild. Yeah.
trauma. And then one more says health-related stress, which is experiencing stress or major life events can trigger health anxieties.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I feel like it all kind of goes together.
Yeah.
It all makes sense here, why someone
Yeah.
would be that way. And why
I've
you would
questioned if I
worry.
had an ulcer before. Oh my
Mm.
God, do I have an ulcer?
Yeah.
Why does my stomach hurt so bad?
Or how about, we talked about dentist anxiety.
Yeah.
Another reason why I'm bringing that up because someone downloaded it today and listened to it, and I saw that on
Yeah.
there. Is it something wrong with my tooth? Is it a cavity? Am I losing it? That's kind of I would say that's kind of the same
Yeah.
thing here.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
You kind of go through, yesterday, I had a couple graham crackers on my left side. My tooth was hurting. So did I grind my teeth at night? Maybe. But the first
Yeah.
thing I thought of was oh my God, I cracked a tooth. Oh my gosh, do I have to
Yeah.
go to the dentist? Oh my
Right.
God.
Am I going to need a root canal?
Worst case
Yeah.
scenario is
Yeah.
what is basically what this
Yes.
is, right?
You go straight to it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. You want to talk about biological factors?
Okay.
Genetics, brain chemistry, and overactive nervous system are reasons that illness, anxiety disorder can be complex and often involve a combination of these three things.
Yeah.
So there may be a genetic component. There could be neurotransmitters like serotonin or dopamine. They play a role in mood regulation.
Yes.
And then it says some individuals may have a more sensitive automatic nervous system, which leads to heightened physical reactions to this kind of thing.
Well, that's, I think, if you were raised in an environment, what do they call that when your mom makes you think you're sick all the time? What's that
By
called?
proxy.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's like, if you're raised that way, you know, luckily some people can break away from that. They realize at a young age that, like, oh, wow, you know, this isn't true, or this isn't how it's supposed to be. But you think some people are Munchausen by proxy. Thank you. Yeah.
I was just looking it up. I couldn't think of it.
I was like, while you were Googling it, it popped into my head. Yeah. But yeah, so if you grow up in that reality and then you proceed to have your own children and pass it on, like, when does the cycle end?
Yeah. So psychological factors is another one.
Yeah.
Excessive anxiety, cognitive biases. That would be like distortions, like catastrophes all the time, right? Personality traits, being a perfectionist, detail-oriented, highly conscious of everything that you do, prone to worrying about health. And then, of course, we have the environmental factors, which I think we definitely touched on. Past illnesses or traumas, family history, parental over-involvement or overprotection. Yeah. I think I was probably a little bit like that with mine. Definitely. Yeah. Again, they had reasons, but then I was always concerned. I was actually just, you know, this is funny. I was just not funny again, but funny. I was just thinking about a doctor's appointment that I had with my son, Steven. And he was having some ups and downs and we couldn't figure it out. So when we went the week prior, the doctor said, let's check for diabetes. Speaking of diabetes, let's just make sure his sugar is normal. And so it came back normal. So she said, well, come back next week. And I misunderstood her, okay? She said, come back next week. We're going to check him again. So we got there the following week, and the nurse says, why are you here? I said, I think it's a recheck for maybe his blood work. So they go and do it again, and the doctor walks in. She goes, I told you last week, he does not have diabetes or a sugar problem. Why are you back? And I was like, you told me to come for a follow-up? And she's like, yeah, for his ears. So I completely misunderstood, but she put me right in my place. Yeah. Like, there is nothing wrong with your son. Yeah. It was other things like seizures. Yeah. But for that, and so she immediately like put me in my place, and that was, and I don't know why that, maybe because I was reading through all of this that it reminded me of that. Yeah. Like, she was very like, listen, this is not what he has.
Well, and that's I told her, I said, you don't know.
Yeah, I said, I completely misunderstood you. You said follow-up. I wasn't that kind of mom. Right. But it reminds me of that story where doctors have to watch, like, what are these parents doing? What are they asking for? And of course, I just said it to the nurse. It's just, I think it's just a follow-up from last week. She goes, oh, okay. And we were just talking.
Well, you know, not only were both of your children born with issues, but you didn't want to be your mom and not take any of their issues not seriously. Right.
I mean, my mom took most of it seriously, but you know.
But she also played tough, and you were like, I'm not going to be like that with my kids. True. If they're hurt, I'm going to get them stitches immediately.
I'm going to give them a reason to go, no, I'm just kidding. No, oh my God, it's terrible. That's terrible. Speaking of stitches, they have a thing for young ones where you don't have to poke them. They just...
What do you mean?
They fill a cotton ball with numbing, and they can lay the cotton ball on the wherever it needs to be stitches, and it numbs it. And then you don't they don't have to go through the trauma shot. Of the... Ooh. I know.
You know, and I...
Knock on wood.
I've only ever had stitches in my mouth.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Right? Yeah, because my gallbladder was laparoscopic.
Yep.
So they were very tiny holes. If there were stitches, it was just inside.
Okay.
I think they just super glued my skin back together.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But in my head, I would think if it already hurts there and you got to get a shot, I don't know that I would... Maybe you seeing the shot coming. I don't know if I would recognize it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I don't know. But I don't know. Who knows? But then again, you think your kid falls down, cracks his head open, you're screaming, they're screaming, and then a doctor's coming at him with a needle. I'm sure it's very dramatic.
So speaking of that, I had my follow-up, my 50-day follow-up for my hysterectomy.
Gosh, 50 days already.
Yeah, 53 today.
That's crazy.
I have a stitch that's misbehaving on the right side.
Okay.
And I knew it because I can see it poking through.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I had emailed her. I said, I think something's going on. It feels like a toothpick or a needle. And she said, I bet it's a stitch poking through. If it doesn't do anything, I'll just see you at your regular checkup. I said, fine. I wasn't doing anything anyways.
Yeah.
But speaking of like the needle coming in while it was hurting, so I laid down so she could look at my scar. And I said, and I think this is the side that I told you about. And she went to go like put her hands on me, and I braced for impact because of the way that she did it. And then she kind of like squeezed to look at it. And I just felt my whole body like, oh my God, what is she doing?
She's just gonna like pop it out.
That's what I thought she was doing, but she was just like, I don't know if she like moved fast or if I just wasn't ready. I thought maybe she was just gonna look with her eyes, but she like put both hands on it. And I was just like,
with your eyes, not your hands.
I know. I was like hanging on, but yeah.
Did she say anything like, "Oh,
she
down.
goes, oh no. She just goes, yep, that's a stitch. You got to just behave a little bit longer, and it should go away. But obviously,
because obviously it's
they
inside
all dissolve.
of you.
They all dissolve.
Yeah.
She goes, eventually it should. It's just annoying, and it is. It just every once in a while I just go eat, and like it's like someone's stabbing me, but it's fine. Hey, if that's my worst.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
After these 50 days and these 3 years, I'm great. But that's what it reminds me of when you were talking about how the needle was coming towards like the kid's head. You don't need that. But that's exactly what happened to me. And I'm a little bit older than a kid.
Mom's crying, kid's crying, doctor's got a needle.
Yeah. How about cultural and social? Oh my God. Cultural and social influences like media and technology.
Yeah.
When I knew I was going to get my hysterectomy, the first thing I did was go on TikTok. That's our favorite thing. And I said, what happens when you get a hysterectomy? And I learned a lot more than I needed to. But it did prepare me for stuff.
Yeah. Like the sticky table?
The sticky table absolutely prepared me for that. Go listen to my hysterectomy episode if you want to know what that's all about.
Yeah.
Cultural attitudes toward health. Scientology would be one where they don't believe in going to a doctor, right? You heal naturally. Is it? Right? Where you heal naturally?
Isn't that
or am I wrong? I could be wrong.
Latter-day Saints.
Okay, it's there are a couple cultures out there that they don't believe in doctors, right? It's whatever your body wants to do, so maybe that could be it too.
I could totally be wrong on saying Latter-day Saints too. Sorry if I'm wrong.
Right, yeah. I mean, we're just chatting here. Societal pressures to be healthy, appearance focused, or have a certain body type can also contribute to illness, anxiety.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like there's a whole bunch that can go into this. Lack of medical knowledge is definitely what I would suffer from because I don't know anything ever.
Well, I think a lot in my perspective of lack of medical knowledge would be maybe somebody growing up in a very rural area where you don't go to the doctor.
Right.
Maybe the vet was there and he stitched you up
because
because he was looking at another animal already while he was
there. You
don't
know.
know, so like you don't even know it's an option,
Yeah, agreed. Behavioral factors would be reinforcement through reassurance seeking. We already talked about that.
Yeah.
Avoidance behavior would be just avoiding everything altogether.
Right.
And we all know you have to go sometimes.
Right.
Stress in life events, chronic stress or health scares or loss. It would be another reason. Evolutionary factors like psychology. So evolutionary perspective, like a heightened sensitivity to potential threats that would cause you to feel like something was going on. I feel like I'm a little bit guilty of that.
Yeah.
Like, again, I'll watch TikTok and they'll say things are going on like drones right now. And so I immediately start feeling like, and people start feeling strange when this happens.
Oh my God.
And blah, blah, blah. But whatever.
I haven't seen anything about the drones.
Well, now you will because your phone's
Isn't that
down
weird?
here.
You would think me, the conspiracy theorist,
you
would
will
be the
now.
one seeing all the stuff.
You know what I'll do
drones.
is I'll send you the first video through this, through my phone, and then you'll have it forever.
I mean, I've seen a couple, but nothing real crazy about it,
So it's pretty complex. I know we just touched the surface of
Yes.
it, but living with someone that suffers a little bit from it because he did have to watch his parents become sick and such, and he just always a worrier. So I wanted him to come down here, but he gets shy.
I know.
Because he has kind of a funny story that maybe we can end with, unless you have something else.
I have nothing, no.
When he was younger, he hated going to school. And so there was a couple of days in a row that he told his mom, I don't want to go. My heart is beating. She goes, wait when it stops. Then we'll worry about it.
Oh
because
my gosh.
it was like and my son was a little bit like that when he was younger. One day his hair was falling out. He had to come home. His hair was falling out.
Yeah.
I mean, he had other things and medicine as well, but it bothered him. And, things like that happen, but you have to kind of look into the psychological part of it as well. Like what am I really worried about that's causing me to feel this way too? So yeah. So I feel like I'm more on I go to the doctor when something hurts and something feels weird, and you're like, I'll be fine.
It'll all work out. Either it'll kill me or it won't.
Right. And you'll know when it's an emergency, right?
When my heart stops beating.
Yeah, that's it. That's what she told him.
Yeah.
When you need to worry. I'm worried because my heart's beating. She goes, worry when it stops.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, thanks.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Have a great day, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.